And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, as Razor and I come out of hibernation and get ourselves going. Talking about the Boston Bruins 2025-26 team that is getting halfway through training camp, preseason, and are there to start putting their team together. This special preseason Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by the great people at Fazenda Coffee Roasters in Dedham. Make sure to check them out, fazendacoffee.com. And they still got a couple of Morning Brew hats left and clean canteens. Go check out fazendacoffee.com/Morning Brew. Also brought to you by Sparks Hockey, the ultimate skate sharpening machine. Go to sparkshockey.com to check it out. Razor and I fully endorse this life-saving product as far as it concerns sharpening skates. Also, Apex Entertainment, apexentertainment.com, the place to go. Apex Entertainment's in Marlboro. It's 100,000 square feet of pure fun. Check out Apex Entertainment for your next party, corporate event, business event, whatever. Apex Entertainment in Marlboro. And lastly, Sunset Lake CBD, the people that provide you with amazing products. They're just the way that they do them, whether it's their tinctures or their sleep products that they've got, just fantastic stuff. Go check out Sunset Lake CBD.com, sunsetlakecbd.com. All right. Thank you to all of them. Razor, training camp. I know that was always your favorite time. Preseason games, always your favorite time. What kind of training camp and preseason has this been so far, partner? Like, what have you thought of it so far, and what's your big general takeaway?
My general takeaway, and the reason why I think so far it's been a pretty good camp is just watching tonight, in that they're so much more organized. Their details are better. They're in the right spot, like especially the neutral zone. Like when they get in that 1-3-1 or 1-2, however you're going to call it. I thought it created some turnovers and they just looked like they were in the right place. Penalty kill looked aggressive. I thought that looked sharp. It's hard to tell when it's not Zegras and they're like out there, and if it's easier for them to break it, but I like the mentality of it, and that's come from training camp. That's come from the message. So it would be nice if the next game was real. I don't know what we're going to get out of the next 2 days. I think the team's going to get a lot out of having 6 more days of working on stuff, but the games itself, I don't know what more to extrapolate from at this point.
Well, all right. So we're sitting down recording this on Monday night, 29th of September, after the Bruins take on the Philadelphia Flyers for the second game in a row. The result doesn't matter. It is a shootout loss. Okay, whatever. It's the little things, whether it's the neutral zone, the PK, the PP. It's a lot of and there's many guys on the bubble, so it's big for them. After this, they've got 2 more games. They've got a game Thursday night in Washington, correct? Jesus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Washington.
Yeah.
And then Saturday at home, they finish afternoon game against the Rangers. You'll see a younger tweener lineup on Thursday night, and you will see as close to full, obviously, on Thursday. There's on Saturday, beg your pardon. There's going to be some. My guess is you'll still see Steves and Mate Blumel in the lineup on Saturday when it comes down to a final spot type of thing, like that type of. You probably see a Mitten and a Patra in the lineup, probably. But after that, it's going to be all regulars.
Yep.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm rethinking that a little bit. Maybe like the Patras and. Mitten, they might play on Thursday. Maybe the Bruins will make a decision on one of those guys by then. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think someone has to do something Thursday to play Saturday. I think those guys you just mentioned, all the bubble guys, they have to do something Thursday. That's I guess the one. Not concerning. It's not concerning. Just maybe a little disappointing that no one really jumped off. No one and these games haven't really lent itself that. And I think that's where we're kind of going with this preseason too, is it just doesn't look like an NHL game. It doesn't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But no one that we've talked about on the bubble has had a hat trick. Nobody has
stood out. Nobody has really stood out.
No.
And we can get into that, right? I was going to ask you about your thoughts on Marco. We'll get to Marco Sturm, but let's just go right into this.
Yeah.
Classic, earn your keep, get another game, all that stuff. Now, nobody has been of those guys, what I would say is brutal, and I'm saying all the guys on the bubble, but nobody has stood out in my opinion. Nobody has said, I've got to have, like, I thought the Blumel may have had that inside track. I do, or did and do, but I can't sit here as of this evening and say it's a lock. Heck no. I don't know. I don't think that.
No, I think he does have the inside. I think if you played in today's game, you've had the inside track. But Blumel's probably, it would, like you, at the top of my list of that, just because he's a winger and it's just easier to slot in there. And if you score some goals like he did in the minors, that's what you need. But it hasn't popped. It hasn't been obvious. It isn't obvious. And it feels like we're kind of in the same spot where it's like, all right, we'll see who does it again Thursday night.
Steve's had chances in the first period against Philly. Mm-hmm. Very few chances in the game until the third period for either team. But he also had 4-5 hits in the game. So he's trying to bring that energy, which I appreciate. But his big thing is still point producing, which is what he.
They have enough. There's enough energy guys, and two of them for sure that are going to be in the opening lineup didn't play in Kastelik and Isima. Those guys are in.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see because of the potential third line, because yes, both those guys will be in. And I know everybody thinks that the third or the fourth line already is established as Esimont, Corrali, Kastelik. If you had to pick between Tanner Jeannot and Esimont, sorry, I don't know, all over. On that third line spot, I'm curious how it plays out. I don't know, man. Like, I still think the lines are a work in progress. You see Arvidsson with Zacha and Middlestat, and I think maybe that's how it starts, but I'm not sure that's how it finishes, partner. I don't know what we know who the number one line is.
Well,
and I think we know who the fourth line is, but I'm not 100%. I mean, Esimont is showing a little something. I maybe elevate him over Jeannot.
That's where I was going to go. If anyone's showing anything in camp, it's him. Like, he's scored the nicest goals. He's given the best energy. So I could certainly see a scenario where, and you could also discuss moving Zacha back to center. He's talked about that. You could put him back on that third line center, move Esimont up the lineup, and put a Minton or a Patra back on the wing, and go. But
we haven't seen Minton on the wing. We've seen Patra on the wing, and I still need to see more out of Matt Patra.
And I guess the other thing too is in Zacha's defense, this isn't his game tonight. Like, he's played a bazillion NHL games. It's just not, it's a different level. So
he had chances though. He had that post chance, and he had and he went over the net on the power play. So again, you could, realistically, you are going to see him on that second line left wing spot, and you're dealing with, to your point, the who goes up onto that third line and what they want the third line to look like. And is Esimont better situated there, or is Jeannot and going to help the young guys grind it out? That's, be interesting, but it just goes, there's not enough spots for Blumel, Minton, and Patra to play. They're just, it's impossible. And Steve's,
it's impossible for all four of those guys.
Yeah, I don't think it's as clear as maybe some people think. I don't. I still think it's a bit of a absolute jigsaw puzzle right now.
Mhm.
I do think the defense is pretty established. I think we know. I think I know who the top 7 are, and I would think that Jordan Harris has that 7 spot. And then I would say, I guess the other question: what are your pairs? Because I don't think it's a slam dunk at all that Lowry and McAvoy are. I'm not satisfied with yet what I've seen from Mason Lowry defensively to say that he can go out there against the opponent's top lines regularly.
I don't think the way his camp is gone and the way his games are gone, I don't think you certainly can't just give it to him to be there at all. I think what we saw tonight was the
top. You think Zadorov and McAvoy?
Yeah, I think that was kind of, I think that they wanted to make sure that those guys played together tonight. And you hope Lowry gets there, but I don't think at, opening night that's the way it goes, especially on the road.
We know that Lindholm, then Hampus is the left side guy. Is it with Peak or is it with Yoki Haru?
Again, with seeing Peak out there with him, I'd lean that way. I think the way Peak finished the season, I think that would be where I lean. But again, it's going to be, it's like the forwards. I think it's a work in progress still. But I think opening night, that's kind of where you start.
So then, in theory, you'd say Lowry and Yoki Haru, but you've got a couple of games still left. Jordan Harris could maybe make a push.
Yeah, sure.
Left side,
sure,
could do that. Well, it's. Yeah, I still feel like you talk about nobody standing out up front. On the back end, definitely the big question mark for me is, there's no question that Yoki Haru and Peak, McAvoy obviously on the right, and then Zadorov, Lindholm. No particular order. I'm saying those are 5 for sure. What do you get? What are you going to get from Mason Lowry? You have him on that 2-year contract. Extension and bridge deal type of thing. It's imperative, Razor, that he gets himself into that much more stout defensive posture, presence.
Couldn't agree more. And it's vital. It is, because he creates offense too. So he doesn't have to be Darian Hatcher. It just has to, it just got to be something. And especially with this new coaching staff, right? Like he doesn't have any history with them. None of these guys were on the bench when he shut down the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple years ago. That's gone. So you really have to, he's got to tighten it up.
New coach, new one of assistants, Steve Spott being the top assistant, new as well. A couple of familiar guys in Kelly and Leach back, and obviously goalie Bob. But with the new coach and a new top assistant, what's that like going into a camp? Having been part of the team the previous year, and then having a new guy like that come in. Is there an experience from your career that you can pull from at the NHL level that has that newness to it, and what that was like? Is there, and how different was it? What did it do for you, either individually or as a team, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, it's funny because it creates opportunities, or it can hinder them, depending again on kind of where you stood with the rank and file the year before. I was, I early in my career, I went from Pat Burns and Mike Keenan. So it was going to be up from there for me as a young guy, right? Like those guys are old school. They wanted the old guy. So I went from that to Robbie Ftorek, who really gave me a chance and called me up. I played. The next year they called me up. I played. He didn't put me on the bench. He came to Providence and watched me all the time. And then from there, I went Mike Sullivan, who was my coach in Providence. So that was my guy. Like we helped each other get to the NHL. So So I was lucky when I was a young guy that I went from a really difficult situation at my first entry point to it continuously got easier as a younger guy. And that's I think, again, Sturmy, I think Sturmy's not going to hold anything against any of these guys. If they can play, they can play. And so I think there is some opportunity for these guys. And I think he's trying to give the forwards group, especially the young forwards, all the chances that they can get. They've gotten a lot of rope. We could have seen Kastelik play tonight. We could have seen Esimont play tonight, and they could have just, not given anybody a look and just said, this is what we're going to do. But they haven't gone that way, and they want some injection. So
yeah, absolutely. That's where I was going to go with it. They not only they want it, they need it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They know they need it, and they know they need to
Jack
get a spark.
Nicholson, almost from You Good Men. You want a young guy.
And
you need
the line.
a young guy.
Well, they do.
In the line. I mean,
yeah.
They do. And I know the fans, a lot of them want that as well. And I get it. But you just can't give.
No,
you just can't give
no.
that spot. It just sends a bad message. It's not good for a new coach if that becomes we just gave the young. Now, if you're full tear down and you're rebuilt, that's different. You're in a retool here.
No,
you're in a retool, and so you got to make them earn it. And I really hope that somebody in the next 2 games of the youngins does something. I really do. Otherwise, it just becomes, well, you're going to keep one just to keep one, and you may have to just keep one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I guess if my leaders then for that of all of them, I'd say Minton and Mate Blumel would be the leaders, but I still think I'm going back to what we said 15 minutes ago, whatever, a lot of room for opportunity the next 2 games, a lot.
Yeah. They have the game of your life Thursday night, whoever you are. If you want to make it out of camp, have the game of your life out of one of those kids. Do something a little special, find a little pop, and solidify it. Be in the lineup again Saturday.
What, to me, one of the best things I've seen so far in these couple of games, and we've done all the games on Nesson, but just watching, the best thing is the play so far of Hampus Lindholm, the skating.
Yeah.
The everything looks completely ready to go. The legs seem to be there. No ill effect of the extended term on IR with the kneecap injury. His reads, his reacts, his recovery. We had a really good play in the Philly game to recover.
Yeah,
when there was an opportunity. I mean,
heck of a back check.
The back check was great. No penalty taken. So that's been incredibly encouraging. Only 1 game for Jeremy Swayman. Thought his third period was very good, and his compete in the third and the OT was good. I didn't love the first 2 goals against. I just didn't at all. So I guess the good, the bad, and the the puck handling that led to the first goal, and then the second goal. I'll give the kid. Was it Gurbenkin? I'm trying to remember. No, Abels or whatever his name is on Philly. Credit for a good shot, but the Bruins didn't close on the right side, and then Swayman, I think, has to make that save. I think both things could be equally true.
Yeah, no question. Good first game though. Hasn't played in 6 months. I liked he was more aggressive stopping pucks and playing pucks. They've got to get a little bit more on the same page. You go as a goalie, you go one side. It really shouldn't go D to D behind the net. As you go to your left. It shouldn't go back across to your right.
That was a little cute, man. That was too cute.
Yeah, happens too much. Yeah. And then on the play, on the goal, he's got to, the backhand wasn't the worst play. He just let the guy close too much space. If he goes quicker, he has more angle. He has more room to go off of the boards. That guy got on top of him in behind the net. So now it's basically like there's no room. Now you're kind of hoping, and it messes everything up. So it's either they're going to watch the tape tomorrow and it's going to be like, you got to go backhand right away, or you got to go hard rim.
Yeah.
One of those two plays. Live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And the problem with the goal is it's at the end of the period again. And that was an issue with this team, of course. Well
Yep.
documented.
Big, huge.
That's on the goalie too, right? Like you just have to make a save in those minutes. That's what starters do. You have a breakdown and your guys don't close out. Well, you got to make the save. If they give up a breakaway, well, you got to make the save. It's just, that's the time of the game where Patty Waugh and Marty Brodeur made their entire careers. Their numbers aren't that much crazier or better than everyone else, but they have 900 more wins than everyone because of those moments. You just recognize it. So, but
he did reset for the third period.
Yeah, and he did a great job in overtime. Like you said, he battled, and that's a work night too. It really is a work night. Like we came in and talked about the result. Doesn't matter. It's a work night, and he got his work done. Saturday's got to be better, right? Like that. It just has to be. Wednesday's practice has got to be better than Sunday's practice, and then he's got to, you just progress, and then you get to Wednesday. So. All in all, it looked better most of the time than what it had. So, do you take the positive from that too?
Unless I'm missing something here, Korpisalo's got to start Thursday.
Yeah, Korpisalo full game Thursday, and then Swayman Saturday, and everybody gets what they need going into the year.
Okay, so then you know where I'm going with this. Bruins start the season with 2 goalies or 3. With DiPietro, who did not have a good first outing, had a very good second outing, despite the fact a bit of a start to the game. The team comes back and he
got the win.
He got the win, yeah, and he played hard in Philly. He battled, especially in the third period, really good, really well. But is it enough to keep 3? I know he's making just over the league minimum, and he's got a 2-year deal. And I know they don't want to lose him, but I'm not sure where I'm at now about, if I guess of course he could get picked up. I'm giving you the obvious, but I felt like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the prognostication that he was going to get picked up no matter what if he got sent down before camp. I'm not a goalie expert like that. I know that the money wouldn't crush him to start with, but on the other hand, I'm not sure if he'd get picked up right now going through. I mean, unless you know of a team that would jump on him for them to be not their number 1. He's a 2-3 for them for another team as well.
Yeah, I haven't gone through 90 goalies. No, which is basically what you have to do for this scenario. It's just too early in the season. I don't know the exact depth chart of every single team. So, but it would surprise me. It would surprise me if he got yoinked. And if he did, that would mean that there's somebody else that's going to be on waivers that will work for this season. It might not set up for 2 years for you, like you kind of have in Mike DiPietro. And your goalies are set for 2 years. They might mess that up if someone picked them up, but you would be able to find a guy for that job for this season. And the
Bruins would have first dibs on him if he got sent back through waivers. What is it? Within 30 days, sending back down?
Correct. If a team, and now if his contract was 1 year, I would probably think a little bit differently, but the 2 years teams just don't, you're not going to pick him up if you're just in a jam for like 3 weeks with a 2-year contract. With a 1-year contract, you could figure it out, but you typically don't hold the roster spot unless you're kind of solidified already. And so again, I'm not 100% because I haven't done the numbers and gone through the names, but I'm 90% just because it feels like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And I don't, the whole business side of it too. I'm not sure. I mean, right now, I don't know. You could keep, but if you don't need it, if you're like, no, these are our 2 guys that played better and well enough in camp to say, these are our 2 guys, I'd probably say you try and send them down. You try and have them clear to begin with. David Pastrnak gets his first game after missing about 5 days of camp with tendonitis in the knee, something he dealt with on and off all last season. I thought he looked excellent in the sense of, for a work night, to use your term, against Philadelphia, he had some gallop going. He had some giddy up. He had physical presence, especially in late second into the third period as well. He was crushing some guys. He wanted the puck. He had a nice assist on the Corrali goal. He looks ready to go. So that's encouraging too. Same way under Hampus Lindholm. McAvoy back from injury. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think he looked pretty ready too. Like he's holding back a little bit, but even that one-man breakout on the PK in the second, that was some
2 one-man breakouts in this game. He had one on the first 5-on-5 and then that one in the second.
Yeah.
And it was good. So that's, again, encouraging as we look at this team and say, how good are they going to be? We don't know because we haven't seen the team together yet. We don't know because we don't know completely Marco Sturm's. We can kind of surmise his system and his structure and where it's going to be different, both in all 3 zones for that matter. But we haven't seen it as a full roster product yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, there's a lot of questions. That's pretty freaking obvious with this team, a ton of questions coming in, but a couple of them are, how are they going to, what kind of, changes are they going to be able to implement? Who is going to pick up? Who's going to elevate their game that we haven't seen? Mm-hmm. Is Marco and his staff going to get through to somebody to make a difference, to help establish depth scoring? Will the systems change things? The biggest one is team defense. We've talked about it on the air, the few games we've worked together. And it's not just in the D zone. It starts, I think, in the neutral zone too. I mean, their neutral zone last year was, what the heck just happened there sometimes, which led to even more holy in the D zone.
It did, and it looks conservative, which I'm completely fine with. If this, again, if it looked conservative tonight, and they turned the puck over a couple times because of it. Now, again, it's when you're playing the grinders, like Marco said after the game. It's hard to really know what can get broken down there, but it looked like that game where they're just if they're 2-1 if they're down 2-1 going into the third 90% of the time, that's a good thing for this team this season. That's kind of what they're playing for, and that's what it kind of feels like at this point. Give yourself a chance, and that's the sense I get. And watching tonight again, it just, compared to the chaos we saw coming out of camp last year, it feels organized, which should make fans positive.
Yeah, can't emphasize enough. And I know that we talked about it. I know the teams talked about it, how last year's camp was very different. And the more you think about it, very almost telling, in hindsight being 2020, right? You're like, we should have seen some of this coming, with how discombobulated camp was in so many ways. Marco seems to be, you've known Marco for a long time. I've known for a long time, obviously not the same level that you have, but his game was always about effort, structure, determination, all that stuff, which is what, for this team to be successful. And I guess the question, we're going to do a big show coming up at the end of the weekend, obviously season preview, but what is successful for this team? We'll get into that, not tonight, but another time. But for Marco's teams to be successful, they may have to be a little bit boring. They're going to have to be predictable. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. He seems like a predictable guy. He does. Yeah. He seems like a very like you knew what you were going to get with him from a hockey player perspective. I feel like what little I've had a chance to watch him as a head coach, what you're going to get from him. And again, I got to imagine the message he's been delivering is we need to be predictable. We just have to be. We can't be a all over the place team. And that's, again, it's obvious, but it's worth emphasizing.
It is, and it's a big talking point, and he does want to create flow from that. He talked about that again tonight as well. Like he wants to create offense from those, but those are the non-negotiables. And again, the first line was as good as any line doing it tonight, which it means there's some buy-in early on, anyways.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get buy-in from let's talk about one guy, Elias Lindholm on that first line, the importance of him. Is he the player that can make a big difference for this team? Sure. Is that a big ask? I don't know yet. I think it's an ask. There's no question about it. Is it a big ask? I mean, he's going from having the down year to an elevator year. Have you seen anything in camp so far in preseason that says he's ready to keep up that end of last year, I'm going to show you that I'm back type mentality?
I think tonight, it looks much more like it did closer to the end of the season than it did at the start. I think it looked at the start like he was in between a lot. It looks less in between. Again, if he gets out in the open ice and he's going to make a play like he did to Geeky tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he looked comfortable in the bumper. Would have loved to him get the shot off, but it was a little bit of a stick in the second period that just got him at the last second. But I think they're going to work through him a little bit more there. Again, it's hard to really judge in the defensive zone because it wasn't the big boys today. So it's hard to really say in that situation. But yeah, no, if I like just a straight up question, does he look better than he did in game 3, or does he look more like the guy in game 3 or game 80 last year? I think more 80 right now. Like he looks comfortable with those guys. And
the health is good. I mean, I'm he seems to be smiling more. Now maybe I'm having recency bias, from just seeing now. Maybe he was smiling a lot last year. We know he was dealing with an injury that impacted his play and I think his mental state, and I think the free agency and the contract and all that. I'm going to sit here and say, I don't really think if I remember him smiling as much, but again, maybe that's just recency bias. I this year he seems to be much more comfortable, much more flowing, much more involved, engaging. That's the word. Holy smokes, I couldn't get it out.
There you go.
Thank you.
He looks like he knows what he's supposed to do.
As you like to say, he knows the way to the rink now. He knows the route. He knows the place to get his dry cleaning and the coffee and all that.
Correct.
Couple of questions on this here from some listeners. I just want to get a couple in because we did get a fair amount. Then we'll wrap up this one. Again, folks, this is preseason for us too. We're getting going. We're going to have a big show. We're going to have a big season preview show. We're going to put it together this weekend or late this weekend and get it out. This one comes from Chris Bull. Is qualifying for the playoffs a realistic scenario for the Bruins this year, or is it looking like still a year or two away? Fair enough question. I think battling for the playoffs is their potential. I do. I mean, if we had talked last week, I'd be like, there's 5 teams in the Atlantic that they're going to have a tough time beating. And meanwhile, now Florida, we know, is not going to have at least 2, if not 3, if you include Tomas Nosek in the mix between Nosek, Tkachuk, and Barkov. 2 of the 3 might be out for the year.
Yeah.
Tkachuk should be back December sometime. They're still a pretty damn good team, but you know what I mean? A lot can change. Mm-hmm. I think the Bruins can battle for a playoff spot. I do. No, they can. Not I think they can. But, I still think this team is a year or 2 away from being very good. I absolutely do.
Yeah. No, and those are separate. I think there's no reason not to be realistic and say that they can make the playoffs somehow this year. It's going to be chaotic this year. Olympic years are always nuts. I don't think there's any consensus on who's actually good, especially in the Atlantic Division. You could ask 10 people, and you're probably going to get 6 different answers on who's good or who's going to win the division. If you ask who's going to win the division, you're going to get 6 different, 4 different answers. You'll get a Leaf answer, you get a Florida, you get Tampa, you'll get Montreal. No one really knows. Ottawa, you'll get 5 answers if you ask enough people on the Atlantic who wins it, which means those teams that are there's some parity there. And if you get off to a start, or if you get to your game quicker than everyone else, then you have opportunities. So there's no, you can definitely say it's realistic to think this team can make the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know how high I think they get, but I think that they can battle for them. And I also think if things don't go well and they get injuries, I think they could be in for another tough one.
Well, we just saw what happened when you get injuries.
Yeah. This one this is from Ryan Bosworth. We talked about this a little bit, but Blumel seems like a lock for the roster. I don't know if I agree. You agree with me, or do you agree with Ryan? Lock. I don't agree. I
don't think. Unfortunately, he hasn't scored yet, so it's not a lock.
And as far as Mitten and Patra, who's been more impressive? Who deserves the job? Is there a chance neither of them earn it? Mitten or Patra? I guess Mitten has been more, a little bit to my eye. He also plays center.
Yeah,
he's bigger. He would probably be my leader in that vein. Like, does he deserve the job? I think with a couple of more good games. Yeah. Is there a chance neither of them earn it? Sure. I guess the last two games.
Yeah. Because again, they're both young guys that don't need waivers or anything. They can go to the minors and come back in game 3. With injury or a change in mind or whatever. So that's where you could easily see those two guys, go score a bunch of goals in the first 2 weeks of the season and then come right back up. Like go fight it out between the two of you in the minors. And we're just going to stick to our old guys that just grind it out here at the start. And we want to see one of you score 5 goals in the first 3 games of the weekend, kind of thing. That happens a lot. It really does, especially with guys that don't need waivers. It's super easy to bring them back up.
Last one, Dave's dad says, I'm in the camp that the Bruins will have a surprisingly good year. With that being said, who do you think will be the player that brings it to another level this coming season? He says his money is on Elias Lindholm, a player we talked about a few minutes ago. Is there a player in your eyes that will bring it to another level, Razor, or you feel has that potential?
I'm such a big Zaka guy. He shoots the puck so well. Is just the toolbox is so good. I would, because I think Lindholm is Lindholm. Like Lindholm, yeah, but you signed him to do that. I guess that's the only reason why I wouldn't say him and go to a different place is just because I think Zaka could just he could just go on a tear at some point. It hasn't happened, but I'd lean that way in some offensive that you didn't expect to get.
Yeah. I mean, again, another usage of the term recency bias. Michael Eyssimont, can he bring it to another level? And what does that mean? What's his level? 15 goals instead of 10 or 12. Because I like your Zaka pick. So I'll pick another one. I mean, I think he has the tools and the attitude, and with a 1-year deal, he's got the motivation as well. Maybe that's a player, but those are good questions. We appreciate all of them. All right, listen, we got obviously a ton of other stuff that we're going to do, but we're going to go through the team. We're going to go through a lot of things. We'll go through conference. I mean, we're going to have a meeting. We'll have a close to an hour show that we're going to record at the end of the weekend. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and we'll get the season going that way. We'll detail some stuff that we're working on finalizing to get going, and from there we'll be into the season, right? We'll be back at it again, Razor. We'll have I think we're going to have a yawn counter this year. We should get that sponsored by we should get. Actually, I should have gone to Nodos for that. I should have.
Pillow company.
Or a pillow company, something. So we'll work on that. We got RC back, right, Ryan? It's phenomenal to have you back, partner. This man is busy now. He is busy, but all good. All right, that'll wrap up this preseason morning brew with Jaffe and Razor, and it's good to be back. We're going to work out our kinks, and we're going to get after it, and we're going to talk to you. And I haven't said this in a long time, but in the meantime, before we talk to you again, enjoy your coffee.